"Why is he even sitting here?" my aunt snapped, glaring at my father's suit. "This isn't his level." I froze mid-step, my bouquet trembling in my hands as every eye seemed to turn toward us. My father looked down, adjusting his sleeves like he suddenly didn't belong. The music kept playing, but it felt distant, like I was underwater. I stepped closer, my heart pounding so loud I could barely hear myself think. I leaned in, my voice low but sharp. "You'll regret that." My aunt smirked like I was nothing, like my words meant nothing. But she didn't know me, not really, and she definitely didn't know what I had been holding back this entire time. My name is Lily Carter, and I'm 34 years old. I work as a freelance event planner. Nothing glamorous, nothing that impresses rich families with polished smiles, but it's honest work. I built it from nothing, step by step, client by client. Growing up, it was just me and my dad. My mom passed when I was young, so he became everything. He worked double shifts, came home exhausted, but still asked about my day like it mattered more than his. He wore the same old shoes for years, but somehow made me feel like I had the whole world. We didn't have much, but we had respect for each other. That was enough. When I met my fiancé, I thought I was stepping into a better life. His family had money, influence, and the kind of confidence that comes from never struggling. But from the start, they looked at me like I was temporary, like I didn't belong. I ignored it. I told myself love would fix it. I wasn't rich or glamorous, but I had something they didn't expect. I had patience, and I had been listening very carefully. If you've ever felt judged because of where you come from, you understand this feeling deep in your chest, that quiet anger you hide behind a polite smile. I lived with that for years, so if that sounds like your story, hit that subscribe button and stay with me. I know what it's like to be dismissed without anyone even knowing you. Tell me honestly, have you ever stayed silent just to keep the peace, even when it hurt? I did that for too long. Click hype or like this video if you've ever been in that position, because what happened next changed everything for me, and maybe it will mean something to you too. Let's keep going. The wedding started perfectly. The flowers were fresh, the lights soft, everything exactly how I planned it. That's what I do best. I create moments, and for a while, it felt like this one was mine. When I saw my dad walking in wearing his best suit, slightly old but clean and pressed, my chest filled with pride. He looked nervous, but he smiled when he saw me. That smile meant everything. Then the whispers started. I noticed my fiancé's family leaning toward each other, exchanging looks. At first, I tried to ignore it, but then I heard my aunt's voice again, louder this time. "Why is he sitting there?" she said, pointing toward the front row. Someone replied, "That seat is for close family." I felt my stomach tighten. My dad heard it too. I saw it in the way his shoulders dropped. He stood up slowly, like he was about to move. I rushed over. "Dad, stay," I whispered, but he shook his head gently. "It's okay, sweetheart." It wasn't okay. I turned to my fiancé. "Say something," I told him. He sighed. "They don't mean it like that," he said. That was the moment something cracked inside me. At dinner, it got worse. One of his cousins laughed and said, "He blends in with the staff." A few people chuckled, not loudly, but enough. I felt heat rise in my face. My father kept eating quietly. Then came the final blow. My future mother-in-law leaned over and said, "Maybe it would be more appropriate if your father moved to a back table." The room went silent. Everyone watched. I looked at my dad, his eyes dropped, and something inside me changed completely. I pulled my fiancé aside. "Why are you letting them do this?" I asked. He frowned. "You're making a scene," he said. That was the first betrayal, not the insult, his silence, his choice. I stood there, realizing I was alone. Then my assistant approached me quietly. "Lily, I need to tell you something," she said. She explained how his family had tried earlier to change the seating chart. They wanted my father moved from the front. They even suggested removing his speech. That was the second betrayal. This wasn't wasn't random, it was planned. My chest felt heavy, but my mind was getting clearer. Later, I walked past a group of cousins. One of them laughed and said, "She's lucky to marry into this family." Another replied, "Yeah, big upgrade for her." I stopped just for a second, then kept walking. That was the third betrayal. I didn't cry, I didn't argue, I just watched. I remembered every small comment from the past, every look, every moment I brushed aside. My emotions shifted, the sadness faded. In its place came something colder, something steady. I straightened my posture, wiped my hands, and took a deep breath. I wasn't reacting anymore, I was thinking. What they didn't know was I had been collecting everything, not for revenge, not at first, just habits from my work. I record things, meetings, planning calls, voice notes. During wedding planning, I kept everything, every conversation with his family, every suggestion, every complaint. I told myself it was for organization, but deep down, maybe I knew. I had voice notes, clear ones, their voices, their words. I had emails too, messages where they tried to control the guest list, remove my father, adjust details behind my back. I didn't plan this moment, but I was ready for it. They always underestimated me. They thought I was just quiet, just polite. They never realized I was paying attention. I stood there, watching them laugh, completely unaware. They think they've won, I thought. A small, controlled breath left my lips. They have no idea. The noise of the room faded, replaced by a calm focus. They thought today was their stage, I told myself, but they handed me the microphone. My childhood friend Emma stood beside me. She had seen everything. "You don't have to take this," she whispered. I looked at her. She knew me better than anyone. "I'm not going to," I replied quietly. She nodded. Good. She stayed close, grounding me, reminding me who I was before all of this. Meanwhile, his family moved around like they owned the place, laughing, greeting guests, acting like everything was perfect, like they had already shaped the day into what they wanted. I watched them carefully, every move, every smile. Guests started noticing the tension. Conversations felt forced. The air felt heavy. Emma leaned in again. "Use the speech," she said. I looked at her. It was simple. Perfect. I nodded slowly. My heart wasn't racing anymore. It was steady, controlled. When my name was called for the speech, I stood up, calm, composed, ready. I took the microphone and smiled. "Thank you all for being here," I began. My voice was steady. I thanked the guests, the team, and then I looked at my father. "And especially my dad," I said softly. He looked up, surprised. Then my tone shifted. "But I want to share something real." The room quieted. I signaled the technician. The speakers came alive. My aunt's voice filled the hall. "This isn't his level." Gasps spread across the room. Another clip played. Laughter, insults, clear and undeniable. My fiancé stepped forward. "Lily, stop," he whispered. I ignored him. I pulled out printed emails. "These are from your family," I said, holding them up. "Plans to remove my father from this wedding." The room buzzed with whispers. I looked straight at them. "You didn't just insult him, you disrespected me." Silence, heavy and sharp. My fiancé tried again. "We can fix this," he said. I shook my head. "No, we can't." I took a breath. This wedding is over. Shock rippled through the crowd. I stepped down and walked to my father. "Come stand with me," I said. He hesitated, then smiled, and in that moment I knew I had chosen right. I walked out with my father beside me. My head was high. People were still talking behind us, but it didn't matter anymore. What mattered was the quiet respect in his eyes, the same respect he had always given me. The family that tried to break us stood there, exposed and silent. They had nothing left to hide behind. I didn't lose anything that day. I gained clarity. I chose dignity over acceptance, and that choice gave me peace. I rebuilt my life after that, stronger, wiser, free. They tried to shame my father, but all they did was show the world who they really were. If you've ever been humiliated in front of others, especially by people who were supposed to respect you, then you already understand how deep that pain goes. It stays with you. It changes how you see people. I want to hear your story. Share it in the comments. You're not alone in this. Subscribe if you believe your voice deserves to be heard, because it does. And if this story meant something to you, click hype to help it reach someone else who needs to hear it today. Your story has power. Never forget that. If something in this resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe and share your journey in the comments. Every hype you give helps someone else feel seen and understood. Thank you for listening to mine.